Welcome to twoquestions.tv. I'm Susan Baranchini-Mo. Joining me today is Amy Thornton Shankland, who has been bringing her joy to her workplaces for over 25 years thanks to her innate enthusiasm. That enthusiasm grew when she taught the Dale Carnegie Human Relations course for over 10 years. Oh my gosh, what wisdom she must have. She's a grand professional, and she's also the author of this book, Joy to You and Me at Work. Hi, Amy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Susan. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. I love Dale Carnegie's work, of course, and I really enjoyed your book. You know, we talk on this show a lot about how people are so disengaged from their work, and you suggest joy as one of the ways to fix the problem. Can you talk a little bit about why?
Well, the big reason why is even if you still work 40 hours a week now, you're still spending a huge chunk of your life at the workplace.
Yeah.
And I actually did the math, and I factored in your commute and all those other things. And even if it's just 40 hours a week, which we know that's going away, right?
Yeah.
Even at 40 hours a week, you're spending less than half of your life at work. And so having joy there is so important. I mean, we don't want to be miserable for almost half of our lives.
No.
And we know there's a lot of things we can't control at work, unfortunately, but we can control what happens right here. And so by working on our attitudes and then our actions and being a more joyful person and then spreading that out to others, it goes to our coworkers and then to our customers and beyond.
Yeah.
So it's just really important that we find that happiness at work.
Well, and you share a lot of strategies in the book for how people can become more joyful, because it's an internal thing. This isn't about waiting for your company culture to catch up. It's really about working on you and finding your internal joy and then bringing that to the workplace. So could you give our listeners and viewers a few ideas for how they can bring more joy into their lives, perhaps while they're waiting for their copy of your book to arrive?
Oh, well, thank you very much. You have to start with you. And that's duh. You have to take care of your health. You have to eat right. You have to get your sleep, all the basic things we hear about over and over again. But that's where you have to start. If you're tired, if you're not eating right, you're not going to be very happy. Mm-hmm. Once you work on your physical self, then you can start spreading that joy at work. And the first thing I talk about in the book is just your atmosphere. So how you dress, how your little world at work looks. And I say it that way because we all work in different environments.
Right.
Office, standing at a counter, in your car. So you have to make sure that environment is pleasing. And I have seen a lot of environments that aren't so happy, very cluttered, very messy. We all are guilty of it. It happens to us all.
What the camera doesn't see.
Yeah. So we have to clean that up. Not perfect. I'm not saying in the book you have to be perfect, but at least get it like 50% and get everything around you more joyful and a little more serene. And then I talk about your computer, your email, your voicemail, just those little things you don't think about that you kind of tend to rush through because we're all so busy. But by taking a little bit of time and cleaning all that up and making that a little more joyful, that's a big help.
Yes, it is.
So we start physically, and then we start with ourselves and then our surroundings, and then we go from there. And then you get to the fun stuff, and that is spreading the joy to your coworkers, which I just love.
Well, what are a couple of tips for that one?
Okay. Well, I talk about the easier things in the beginning to kind of ease people into it in the book. But I focus first of all on celebrations. That's an easy way to start. So if you're not doing the basics like some cards or having some treats for birthdays and other celebrations, that's a great way to start spreading that joy. I know a lot of companies don't even do that sometimes, and that's so much fun. Appoint yourself the joy maker of your organization or your business and start doing those traditions. And then I get a little wackier. Maybe I don't know if that's a good word, but into more Amy territory. So you can do some really fun things like decorate the person's office or their surroundings. And I'm not saying spend 45 minutes to an hour, but put a couple balloons up or some streamers. Make them feel really good when they walk in to start their work day or whatever. And then you can do interesting things like poems that you can cheat and even get from the internet, or songs I mean, I am crazy. I sing to people either on their voicemail or in person, but there's just so many fun things that you can do, and you'll feel good doing them for your coworkers.
Yeah.
But you also have to make certain it's appropriate for your workplace and that person. Some people don't like all that attention.
Well, yeah, and I think that's an important point is know that, and I think this is what's so interesting about it is a lot of the work that I've read talking about disengagement in the workplace talks about building connections and having connections to the human beings you work with. And this sort of is a part of that because I think one of the things that we generally as human beings often miss is that when you're giving someone a gift or you're doing something nice for them, it can't be what I think is nice for you. It has to be what you want. And that's a part of knowing you. And so if I know my coworkers, then I can do, I mean, you know, I work from home, but if I know my coworkers and to some extent, you know, this is applicable to my team. If I know what's valuable to them, what's important to them, then I can be a better giver of joy to them. So that it's not me trying to foist my idea of joy on them, but rather finding out what their idea of joy is and helping them and giving them in that way. I think that's really the heart of what you're talking about here. And it's so valuable. I'm so glad you came on the show. Where can people find you?
Well, you can go to my website, which is author.amythornton.wordpress.com. If you want to go straight to the book, though, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, that's a great place. Just simply type in Amy Thornton and then Joy to You and Me at Work, and you should easily find it.
And we'll have all those links in the show notes for today, so it's easy for people to find. Thanks for being on this show.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you.
All right, viewers, here's the book. Get your copy and start spreading joy. That's the mission. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.